First off, happy holidays. Hope you're okay with me getting into the festivities. The Brooklyn Nets improved to 2-0 on the season, beating fellow conference rival the Boston Celtics by 27 points on Christmas Day. While the offense led the way, the defense certainly wasn't far behind. And that's what we're discussing today. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe below. Today, you heard it at the intro. We're talking defense. Yes, again. There's no reason to overcomplicate things. Brooklyn won this game because its two best players got absolutely smoking hot from the floor. For Kevin Durant, this meant shooting over the top of Celtics bigs every time they were switched on to him. And for Kyrie Irving, this was a lesson in all-world scoring, highlighted by his expert footwork, which you can see here as he hops around this Marcus Smart incoming charge. But where the duo also made an incredibly pronounced impact was on the defensive end of the floor. And no play better epitomizes that than this Jayson Tatum post-up. At first, Durant maneuvers around the Daniel Tice screen to stay with Jayson Tatum on his first bout of post-up basketball. And then on Tatum's repost, he cuts off his driving lane, shadows Tatum's footwork on the step back, and forces up an air ball. For Durant to look this good on defense is certainly unexpected. Shoot, his coach told us preseason that he expected Kevin Durant's defense to come last. And I too figured it would take 20 or so games for KD to look fully himself on defense. But against Boston, he was performing at an all-defensive level. It's hilarious. We spent all that time trying to find the right defensive four to back up KD, all for KD to turn into that guy. More Durant on Tatum here as he oozes around the Tristan Thompson pin down and stays with Tatum on the drive. The beauty of Kevin Durant is that because of his size, quickness, athleticism, and intelligence, he essentially operates as a secondary shot blocker, giving Steve Nash that ultra desirable Twin Towers alignment. At the last minute, he affects Jaylen Brown's driving layup. Say what you want about Kyrie Irving as an overall defender, but when engaged, he's one of the best one-on-one defenders at the point guard position. All of the agility, quickness, and balance that we see on offense leads pretty well to Kyrie Irving staying in front of his matchup no matter what gets thrown in front of him. Great defense here, just a better make from Jayson Tatum. He completely erases this driving lane for poor Peyton Pritchard. If there's one thing we've learned about this Brooklyn defense so far, it's that they're going to be switching a lot on screens. When Marcus Smart slips his screen, which is when an offensive player slips to the basket a half second or so early without making any contact to catch the defense by surprise, Kevin Durant picks him up while Kyrie takes Jayson Tatum at the arc. As we saw against the Warriors, it's very clear that the Nets are going to be doing everything they can to erase dribble handoffs, and Kyrie Irving positions his body in between Tristan Thompson and Jayson Tatum here. Look at how nice of a job he does recovering back into the play and getting a hand up when Jayson Tatum thinks about the pull-up. And the Nets are rewarded by a Marcus Smart miss from three. The Nets also appear to be one of the many teams leaning into the analytics movement on defense. Much like the Bucks of last year that secured the league's best defensive rating, or the Raptors that sat at number 2 and allowed the most corner threes in the league, one of the Nets' core principles on defense appears to be protect the paint at all costs. This is a great example. More from the Nets protecting the paint and daring the Celtics to shoot. As Kyrie Irving goes under the screen twice against Marcus Smart, clearly knowing the scouting report, while Joe Harris stunts or fakes at Jaylen Brown's drive, forcing one of Boston's two stars to kick the ball out to Daniel Tice in the corner. A really nice recovery by Joe Harris, might I add. Speaking of Joe Harris, this defensive possession against Jeff Teague was excellent. He screeches around the Daniel Tice double drag before ducking under the Boston center's body on the rescreen. A smart move against Jeff Teague, who is an average shooter at best. When Jeff Teague gets the ball at the top of the key to isolate, notice how Joe Harris slides his feet to take away the driving lane, forcing Teague to reset and eventually cough up the ball to Kevin Durant. Jared Allen was once again a key cog to everything that made Brooklyn special on Christmas Day, and his perimeter defense was a big reason he was on the floor down the stretch. How many centers in this league can defend guards all the way from the three-point line to the rim? Not many. Even if he wasn't on the perimeter, flipping his footwork like a DDR specialist, Allen found ways to make contributions in other ways. On this Boston side pick and roll, Allen shows high for a second to buy time for Taurean Prince to get back into the play. Covering for one another's mistakes was a big theme against Boston. Here, Landry Shamet rotates over to help Kevin Durant on the Jayson Tatum drive. And then on this possession, Taurean Prince notices that Landry Shamet is at a 20-pound disadvantage against Jayson Tatum, so he doubles for the block. And then finally, after Kyrie Irving gets put behind the play on the Marcus Smart, Tristan Thompson pick and roll, Joe Harris rotates over, working with the confidence that Kevin Durant can cover both Grant Williams hiding in that dunker spot and Jayson Tatum at the perimeter. Go check out my last video if you want video proof of that. And then speaking of that last video, Brooklyn was once again incredibly disrespectful to Boston's weaker spacing options. So, what did we learn from the Christmas Day game against the Celtics? The Brooklyn Nets continue to be a team that switches pretty aggressively 1 through 4. They look to snuff out dribble handoffs as much as humanly possible, while also denying the paint at all costs. This means allowing 3-point shots, but usually those come from weaker shooters, if of course Brooklyn can control for that. Kevin Durant's defense may actually be ahead of his offense, while Kyrie Irving seems incredibly invested on that end of the floor as well. Brooklyn's role players are more than happy to help for one another. And overall, everybody just seems really invested in having each other's backs. But maybe most important of all, especially when we're talking defense, these guys just really seem to like each other. I mean, shoot, they took each other out to dinner after the game. As long as this group continues to be so cohesive on defense while being the aggressors, I really like what they're building. Though I will say I can't wait till this defense gets tested. And with that, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe as well. And go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter. The link is below. But don't stop there. Share this video on Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit. While you're here, be sure to check out my general NBA podcast, basketball, and more, and give that thing a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. If you're looking for written work, you came to the right place. Check out the website netsdaily.com. It's where you can find stuff from myself and my incredibly talented colleagues at all hours of the day. And with that, I'm out. Peace.